it might feel like a distracting word. But as we break it down, it will be something that builds upon itself. It's basically broken down into 5 parts. One is the science. And you have that because that's in your grant. There's the career development, which is actually, if we want to look at the whole PAR report, it's probably the most important part of the pilot project, which is helping you develop your professional career. And I'm not your parent, but I see what's good for you. Then there is the mentoring part, and we have multiple activities going on under mentoring. So this is not something you have to reinvent. You are probably already a career mentor. You're probably a research mentor. So these mentoring activities, you're already doing them. Once you put them down on paper, then every quarter it's just a matter of updating. There is also the part of being mentored as a faculty. If you're a junior faculty, one of the things that I know from being former director of the School of Community Health, and now intern associate dean, is that we are not very good at mentoring junior faculty. And part of that is we have high teaching load, we have a lot of students, and if you got a new job and you're a junior faculty and you have a PhD, we assume that you're good to take care of yourself, but there is that scientific part of being mentored, and then there's that mechanical part of being mentored, how to make sure that you are up for tenure at some time and be able to be promoted. So we spend some time looking at this faculty mentor. The dissemination part is very similar. Either write a couple of papers from this pilot project or write another grant, present a poster, and again, your scholars will be having some experience developing some of these things. And then there is a section here on barriers and the financial part of it. So let me go real quick over each of the items. Is there any questions so far? Okay. So the grant started effective what? July 1st or August 1st? Kathy,
it was sort of July, but we had to do a special thing to get the money for July.
Oh, and that's where we got in trouble.
Yeah.
We were
So
supposed to get officially started in July, like
Yeah.
25th.
Yeah. So it ends October 21st, so we go back September 21st, August 21st, July 21st, so more or less July 21st was the official start date. So we have on the science part, it's basically the aims of your project. If you have 2 aims, it's 2 aims. If you have 3, then it's 3. So you write an aim of your current proposal and what you did this quarter. So it might be, give an orientation to staff in the lab, purchase equipment, whatever it is. And again, these are things that we hope the students will help you put together. So that I'm glad you guys are here. And then what you want to do for the next plan. Some of you have been doing this and don't need help. Some of your PIs are junior faculty, and by being junior faculty, this might be their first grant. And these are the things that you don't want to wait until the last 3 months of the grant to say, oh yeah, I need to make sure that I do this stuff. So that's the science part. We okay? Career development. So this is, like I said, seed money to make you an independent investigator. So when you're gonna submit a grant, you're gonna look for a request for proposals or a request for applications. In the incoming RFP2, the next wave of pilot project, we're asking actually that upfront. Where are you going with this? And then they say, well, I want to apply for this RFP, and they can just put the URL. An RFP is request for proposals. An RFA is request for applications. The difference is that in the request for application, there's set aside amount of money, and people who apply, if they meet certain criteria, receive the money. And when they run out of money, then that's. But it's just for that specific request for application. And RFPs, they identify the priorities, they meaning NIH. You apply, you get a score, but the funding is not based on that RFP, it competes with all the RFPs that are at NIH. And so RFAs could be an easier way of getting funded than an RFP. It depends how many people apply. So if they set aside $10 million and 100 people apply and each asks for $1 million, your chance of getting funded is 10%. But if only 50 apply, then your chances are 20%. So that's the RFA. That's basically what the pilot projects are. Of course, in an RFP, you get a score, but then you go back to the pool with all the other people who submitted grants to all the other RFP, and then you get funded that way. So we ask you that you find the RFP or the RFA. These also help us if we have, for example, in the OHSU PSU School of Public Health, the new dean is having a similar process of funding some pilot projects that involve faculty from OHSU and PSU. But it's also looking at finding grant writers to help submit some of these proposals. So this is another way for us to, if we have people who are able to help you in submitting, responding to an RFP, or if we know somebody who has been funded on that specific RFP, or if we know of somebody who has reviewed grants for that RFP. These are all things that help us. So I know it's work for you, but we want to help you in that regard. You may have the aims of your next grant. They could be the same grants. But if you have the aims, just write them down. The one thing you could do right now is to join the National Research Mentoring Network. And they receive funding at the same time as we did. Their job is to provide mentoring activities to other field programs. Yeah.
I tried to join it at the last talk I went to where they said join us, but you have to have a login and password, and then I asked about that and it was like that was going to be provided to us,
That hasn't
but it hasn't been yet. So, yeah. So I'm happy to join in, but I need stuff.
Good. No, that's good to know. That's good to know because we have meetings every 3 months, again, quarterly, and then I can bring that up and they come up with an excuse.
Yay! Tom has them.
Don't make it.
No, tell her.
Don't kill it.
He knows how to do
Okay.
it quicker.
Mhm.
Because we wait and it's,
Okay. So we'll get back to you on that. Thank you. Attend this pilot project for orientation check. Any question on that? Okay. And it doesn't have to be NIH, it could be a CDC or National Science Foundation or Department of Defense or CIA or whatever. By the way, the CIA has, alright. The USAID is funded by CIA. Anyway, so thing you're gonna remember today. It's like, my God, this name. Mentoring. So, the mentoring again, you probably are participating in mentoring activities. So, write the name of the students you're providing mentoring. Get them involved in the pilot project. Again, so the scholars and the students that you're mentoring can do some of these activities. Perhaps better than you, they might be able to articulate how you're mentoring them. Review that just in case you might say something is not true. And make sure you include your mentees in your pilot project dissemination activities. And just let us know how that happened. We have opportunities for students to be able to present poster presentations. The scholars have a set-aside amount of money to attend national conferences. So this is an opportunity for you to spend that money. And that doesn't come out of your budget. Right? Sometimes I think they're not right, so thank you. But they have a set-aside funding to attend presentations and present. And then there's the quarterly mentoring training. Faculty mentor, are you being mentored as part of this project? And if so this might not apply to you, but if you're being mentored, just list the name of the mentor and the topics you have discussed.
Carlos?
Yeah.
So for the presentation for students, these are only for Exeter scholars. So you can have-
If they're not Exeter scholars, then you might be able to use some of your own funding to as part of the dissemination.
Okay.
You still want it listed if they're not Exeter scholars?
So we have three grants out of Exeter. There is a research enrichment and institutional development and the student training. So the funding for the scholars come from the student training. So we have different annual reports that we're to submit. So if you have a graduate student who is in the pilot project and is doing something, it's not Exeter scholar related, but it's institutional related. So we need to show that we're also improving institutional research. So yeah. All right. So if you're faculty and are participating in mentoring activities like being mentored by somebody, then use the faculty mentor, list the name of that mentor and a list of topics that you have discussed. If you're mentoring, then you address the previous one of those for undergraduate mentee. So participation in mentoring activities is also critical. So you can include them somewhere, include them. Dissemination. Dissemination activities. For the most part, these are not going to happen in this quarter because you probably haven't collected the data or analyzed the data. So at this stage, if you can see where you're going with this, maybe I'm going to publish in the Journal of the American Medical Association or the Journal of American Physics Association, whatever. Just list those journals. It also, this is an activity that you say, actually, I know what I'm doing. But the scholars might want to know what this is. Oh, they want to publish in the Journal of American Medical Association. And they don't use APA style. And when it's trivial, in the journal, but now the scholar are being trained on, are you guys being trained on references? Well, that's going to be part of the workshop. How to put together a reference for a paper. And believe me, when the time comes, that will help you. once the references are entered, you tell the scholars, can you give me the reference for this paper? Oh, here they are. Boom. So getting those 3 journals, then they will come to the workshop and they start looking, and we'll help them in terms of identify those journals and how to put together references, etc. So that's why we asked for them. So it again looks like a lot of work now, but it's intended to facilitate the work later. And if there are other ways that you are going to have a dissemination plan for your proposal, then not everything ends up in a journal. Sometimes it's a testimony in silent. Sometimes it's a chapter in a book at the Institute of Medicine, or sometimes it's a community presentation. We have diverse pilot projects, some very social science, some very highly life science. So the disseminations outlets out there will vary. So let me know. So this is your suggestion box, the last part, various and facilitators. Let me know what is working, what's not working, and because that helped me then be able to find out how to help you. So you have a problem with the specific aims, what are the barriers that you've had? Career development, if you're having issues with whatever it is, let me know. Sometimes I cannot help you if you have a problem with your chair. But if there's something that we can do on our side, I mean, we have Jason Podravsky here, the Associate Vice President, we have the Provost. So they are highly engaged and they want to make sure that you're successful. If we don't hear from you what is not working institutionally, then I cannot provide feedback. If sponsor project is not getting back to you, your budget, if you're not being able to access the National Research Mentoring Network, if we don't know these things, then we are not going to be able to put it here. So, and then, like now I know this mentoring issue, so we go out and check with Tom Kenner and the group. Then the expenditure update, you had a chance, did you meet with Kathy before she left? Oh, so they keep track of your budget. Basically, it's not a lot of money, so you can probably spend it already. But the whole point is that you don't spend money you don't have, but that at the end of the year, that you don't sit on a lot of money that you didn't use. So, and that happens to all of us, by the way. So you want to make sure that you spend accordingly, and that because you cannot, there's no carryover.
So since it started late, it's going until July,
July 21st, yeah. July 20th, yeah.
so it goes to the end of July
Yeah,
in 2017.
and I need to get.
Well, Kathy did say 6:30, so I think we should clarify that.
Okay.
I think, if it could be extended, please, as I expressed to you in an email,
Mm-hmm.
the summer is really valuable for getting, especially the kind of work we do.
Yeah, we'll confirm the end date and provide that when I email all of the slides and handouts and everything.
Yeah, that's a good question. One rule that I knew when I used to work with the feds is they don't want you to spend more than 25% of your budget in the last quarter. Because basically what that shows is that you've been hoarding the money. You actually didn't need the money, but you have it, and all of a sudden you're spending half your budget in the last quarter because you want to spend it before the beginning of next year. So just pace yourself and make sure that you are able to, stay within a range of things. There are ways for you to order things, allocate the money, and the accountants, they know what it means. You might not have spent it, but it's been already, not embarked, what's the word, allocated. It's been committed. So just like we did with the pilot projects. This is funding that we should have spent last year, but we basically were able to allocate it for this year. So that's why we can't keep carrying over